the San Diego Film Week. I have a short film that makes a social commentary about gun violence. It is called The 5th of November, and it's my first time here in this great event. So I'm really happy to participate.
Great. Thank you so much for being here. And Mr. Shane Allen, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. I want to say thank you to Jody and the Film Consortium for doing everything they've done so far. If they hadn't have done those things, none of us would be here. So thank you, Jody. My name's Shane P. Allen. I'm here because I did a film called Simple Twist. Simple Twist is a feature that's about an estranged father who finds out late in life that he has a son, and the film begins at that point. It's all local actors. Tony Cox played the lead. We shot it all locally here in San Diego. We shot every exterior scene in the golden hour, and we shot almost all the interior scenes in the golden hour just to keep consistent. So a labor of love with that one. I'm also fortunate enough to be in Gunman's Hand. I worked with Chris in that film. It's the third time I got to work with him, and that's always a great time. And then lastly, I worked in a film called Limbo, where I play the lead with the Anderson brothers writing and directing. And so Simple Twist is my project, but very, very pleased and proud to be a part of these other two films as an actor.
Fantastic. Thank you. And that sounds like a lot of golden hours that you had to find.
Yeah, it was about a year it took us to film that. You can imagine you got an hour and a half, and that's it. Yeah. So, but we wanted consistency. We wanted that light. We wanted that feel, those long, soft shadows and those colors. So hopefully it translates in the final product.
I think it did. It looks great.
Thank you.
All right, and we have Shannon Taylor and Anthony Mays joining us. Hi, guys.
Hi. Thank you for having us. We're really excited to be here. Thank you, Jody and San Diego International Film Festival. It's so fun to be here. My name is Shannon Taylor. I'm a producer, director, and actress. We have two films in the film festival this weekend. The first one I'll tell you about is The Flourish, which is about a little girl who dreams of being a famous, I was going to say musician, but no, magician. And you watch her journey. It was made for the Her Film Challenge, which Jody Seeley put on, which we made last fall. And it stars Faith Herman, who is from the TV show This Is Us, and Mark Christopher Lawrence from Chuck.
Yeah. And I directed another one of the films that are in the festival this week. It was called Bathsheba, which is actually made for women making a scene. And it's loosely based on Shannon's own life. She actually plays the lead in it. And it was a very short 3-minute. You had to tell a story. And it was to pitch for a feature.
Awesome. And those are both showing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks for being here, guys. And last but not least, we have Jody Seeley with us, and she is our San Diego Film Consortium queen. Tell us a little bit about what you're up to, Jody.
Queen, I don't have a crown yet. No. Hey, everybody, I'm Jody from the Film Consortium San Diego. I'm a big advocate of local film and local filmmaking, and San Diego Film Week was an idea we had many years ago to sort of show all the wonderful work being made in our city by our amazing filmmakers and actors. We've got a great place to make films here in San Diego, so I really wanted to, be here and talk about all the wonderful reasons that you out there in the film world should come and make films in San Diego, with some real life stories and some real life advice from some of our wonderful filmmakers here.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I'd like to kind of start out with, since this is a panel about making films in San Diego, obviously we live in San Diego. We know it's amazing, and that, we've got the good weather, we've got the great people, but a lot of other people may not know that. So I'd like for you guys to talk about, why do you make films here? Why haven't you gone up to LA or to other, local areas? What's great about San Diego for you guys?
If you want us just to jump in, Kimmy? Okay. So I love San Diego. I've been in San Diego for 32 years. I came from the Midwest, And like my oldest son is in Chicago right now, and he's hating every second of it because he says, "Why would I ever leave the state of California? I have everything that the rest of the country has in my own state." So that's the point. We've actually gone from a hike in the mountains. It's almost 7,000 feet in the snow, and then the same day jumped in the ocean. So as a filmmaker, you have every kind of microclimate at your disposal that you can think of, and you can find places that look like the East Coast as well. So from a topographical or geographical standpoint, you have everything within a 50-mile radius, basically. And if you want to drive an hour and a half, you got full-on total desert. So as far as location and that kind of stuff, geographically, you have everything at your disposal. The other thing is we have a really rich, vast industry in San Diego of independent filmmakers and all the way up to people who are working and thriving in Los Angeles who prefer to live in San Diego, and they keep themselves quiet around here. But there's a lot of those people here as well. So we have everything from the new people who are just starting out to the people that are living and working and thriving in Los Angeles right here in San Diego. And then also the permit process is a super easy process now. So you just have this rich pool of actors and crew with a great set of geographical locations, all within a 50 to 80-mile radius.
Thank you, Shane. Anybody else have any comments? I mean, Shane covered a lot of it.
Sure, I can add something. Oh, sorry. No, you please go ahead.
I'll go after you.
Shannon, go ahead. Tell us what you got, Shannon.
Okay, first off, I was just going to say, so the project I was talking about, The Flourish, that was my first SAG project. That was my first time hiring minors. So there was a lot coming at me that I didn't know. And I found that the San Diego film community was so incredibly supportive. Everyone was like, had my back, trying to help me. I even had Larry Poole calling up to SAG, like trying to make sure my film got cleared. And it really is a family. And when people come in, they just are supported. And especially for me as a new filmmaker, I've only felt love, and people have been just wanting to help out. And I don't know that, I just think that's very unique to San Diego.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off that too, where the community really just wants to see great stuff come out of the community. So it's not uncommon that, someone might hear about a project and then they'll patch them through to somebody that maybe works strictly LA that'll come down and help out with sound or lights or rigging trucks or direct or actors. For instance, for The Flourish, we got Mark Christopher Lawrence, he's played opposite of Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness, regular on Chuck. He was on Seinfeld several times. And, he lives here in San Diego, but he's a regular, he's a reoccurring character on a lot of LA-based shows, but he prefers to live here. And he's willing to jump in with local projects and help out. We were fortunate to have a SAG project because he's a SAG actor, but still, he didn't have to do that. I mean, he essentially worked for free for us because it was a competition film. It wasn't a, full budget film, but, the community as a whole really likes to just throw themselves into great projects and great ideas and people that are great to work with.
Well, we have such a tight-knit community here too. I feel like we all kind of know each other, and, we kind of welcome in new people as they come in and kind of get them into the ropes pretty quickly. So, I mean, I think that's a nice thing versus like in LA where there's just so many people that you could never possibly know everybody up in LA. We're here, you have a little more of a chance to work with the same people again.
If I could, I think Anthony and Shannon touched on this, but I doubt that you would find the ease of and access to the president of SAG in LA County like we have with Marty Alvalar and the vice president, Larry Poole. I mean, these guys are available at a phone call, and they will rush things through as quickly and efficiently as you can get them done. And I doubt if you go to LA, you're going to be able to have A, the access to those two people in that county, and B, if they're going to be able to move things as quickly as possible. And that would be something that here in San Diego, we're starting to see more and more union projects being done. And I think that is a beautiful way to go with things, because that's going to give us more and more credibility.
Yeah, absolutely. You're definitely right. Javier, did you have some comments?
Yes, I just wanted to add to what Shane and Taylor and Anthony said, which is, I mean, it's really great to be in San Diego for filmmaking. And I must say, before I'm new in the city, and I've just been discovering everything, and I love all the diversity of the neighborhoods and of the people. And I like the fact that also content can be created in Spanish, which is something very interesting because this can add also Mexican audience or Latin American audience, not only in the United States, but also in Mexico, which is really important. And San Diego can connect that because San Diego has possibility for both sides. Adding also Tijuana into the filmmaking scene is very interesting. And I think it should happen more, but it's of course a process that is growing on. And as Shen said, more union projects are really being more beneficial for the filmmaking scene in town. So I think it's just going to be growing up more and more, which is really nice.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Especially with the non-English speaking community, it's such a high percentage that we can kind of cross the boundaries there and do films for everyone. So where you wouldn't necessarily find that in other locations, I think. And so you do a lot of work down in Mexico. Also, do you have any kind of thoughts about how it's been working like across the border?
Oh, I haven't done much work in Mexico actually. I did one short film in Tijuana, and I am planning a feature film that I hope to be shooting soon in the next few months. I don't know; it depends with the COVID situation how it's gonna be resumed. But yeah, it's interesting to be able to actually create a project that is mostly in Spanish. I mean, I'm from Colombia, so my first language is Spanish, so I can feel really happy to be able to do it because once I was in Canada, it was more difficult. I was producing content only in English, which is really great. But I also wanted to do something in Spanish, and I found that possibility in San Diego. And when I moved to San Diego, of course, I knew that it was close to Tijuana, but I didn't know that it was like that close that people can just go back and forth and have that possibility into the filmmaking scene and also shooting something in Spanish. So, yeah, it's a great possibility, and I really hope to be able to continue doing projects more. I mean, in both sides, of course.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Javier. Jody, do you have any other comments? Because you're going to go back and forth between across the border too.
Yeah, I mean, part of the biggest, I agree. I think one of the biggest benefits of being here in Tijuana or being here in San Diego region is that we have access to Tijuana and it's in Mexico, and it's not like hours and hours away. It's 15 minutes from downtown. So not only do you get access to all the people and the talent in this city, in both cities, you also get access to kind of like whole different world of sets. And I mean, this I'm actually in Tijuana right now, and you're walking through the streets. It's like there's so many different possibilities for movie sets, and the production design of the city itself is like set up beautifully. You can look in one direction, it looks like zombie apocalypse. You look in another direction, it's like like you're looking at a mansion and a golf course. I mean, there's just so much diversity in this city. So I do think there's a lot of possibility to kind of use both sides of the border in productions that could really add to the productions that we have here. And it's really attractive to come to the city and kind of have access to both. I've taught film down in Tijuana for years, 2 years I taught film. A lot of talent down here. The stories are totally different than what we come up with in the US. Radically different stories, far more, how would I say, just the depth and the sort of darkness of some of the stories is very interesting. A lot of dark comedy I've seen come out of the students that I worked with in the films that I've seen down here. Just great possibilities of cross-border collaborations. And, San Diego, we talked about, the permitting office, and this, permits are free and they're 3-day turnaround. Filming in Tijuana is not heavily regulated either. So there's a lot of opportunities for sort of cheaper, easier productions in both San Diego and Tijuana.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, kind of touching on what you were saying about how many different locations there are in TJ, I feel like what Shane was saying too, there's so many different locations within San Diego that you get a lot of different looks kind of all at once. You point in a different direction, Where have you guys, or how have you found that working in locations? Like, have you found that you go with like an Airbnb? Do you try to use personal houses? Have you had, permitting type stuff where you're going location scouting and finding things around the city?
We've done a bit of everything. So I actually lived in Los Angeles for about 6 years, and going from that where they're charging you $600 to $1,000 a day for a permit, to then come down here and embrace it, and it's free. Obviously, being a native San Diegan, all my friends and families, people that I know that have businesses, they embrace it, and obviously that always helps. When you're in Los Angeles, it's so big, and they know that as soon as a production comes in, they see dollar signs. So, to hit on what you were saying, like getting Airbnbs, we did that for a feature I shot 5 years ago down here, and it was great because we used it as a location, but we also housed all the actors from Los Angeles. And honestly, like a lot of, I mean, even with Leave 'Em Laughing, we had Pete Gardner from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Matthew Glave from The Wedding Singer. They were more than happy to come to San Diego because we made it like, oh, you can bring your family. And we set them up at a hotel down in La Jolla, and they made a weekend of it. And we've done that with the Airbnb too. We were able to put your crew, above the line crew, or your actors up into these, Airbnbs. But all in all, I mean, San Diego just embraces, the filmmakers. I never really run into anyone, and even in Tijuana, like to touch on what Jody, I shot a documentary down there, and it was great. I was able to hire crew down there, and they're just as qualified or more qualified than, some of the people just here in town. So.
I will say, Kimmy, we have been so grateful by San Diego. Like, we have gotten so many amazing locations, like, just since we've been filmmaking for the last couple of years. Like, we filmed at a historical, like, Victorian home. We filmed on boats. We filmed at the Lions Club in North Park. We filmed at where else?
Well, we just filmed at the Coronado Del 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
And these epic locations. And I know, for major filmmaking, the productions, Paramount and all them, they've worked their way into SeaWorld. They've worked their way into, where's some of the, Petco Park was another huge one for pitch. Yeah. And Qualcomm Stadium has been there for certain things. So, I mean, it's not like these locations are unattainable. They're clearly getting booked for major roles. Maverick, Top Gun Maverick at the Rosecrans Cemetery, that was used too. So it's like the city, I think, loves filmmaking here. Yeah. And they want to see it in films because it just draws more people into the city too.
Yeah, we've only had really good experience where, some of these places, they don't even charge us. They just want to make sure we have insurance and workers' comp, so things are safe. They're just excited, like the Victorian home in Escondido. It's a historical landmark, but they were just so excited a film was being made there. So I think San Diego, since it's not as, there's not as many filmmakers as LA, they just get really excited when things are being filmed. So there's a lot of good opportunities.
That's actually what I was going to add to is, in my understanding of LA is, I think just 100 plus years of filmmaking has kind of burnt, and has kind of burnt a lot of the residents out on the love and excitement for film making on your street or in your neighborhood or during your commute to work is gone. Whereas I feel like there's still the sort of love and mystery and excitement and sexiness of filmmaking in San Diego. How many times I've heard, if you are filming on the street without a permit, how quickly you could get shut down in LA and people will get mad, the police, how many, and then I'm thinking of all my experience in San Diego, how many times the police have come up and been like, this is so cool, this is wonderful, what are you guys doing? I love this, cool, have fun. There's still that sort of excitement, and I think that's because we don't have this huge, massive industry that sort of steps on the neighborhoods and the community. We have to live here. We all, these are our neighbors and friends that we're working with. We have to sort of be respectful and maintain relationships because we're small and tight-knit and embedded in the community. We're not sort of coming in from the outside or sort of, just sort of coming and doing what we want and leaving. I think it's just a different energy, and because of that, the city still loves filmmaking. I've very rarely heard any stories of people getting in trouble, getting confronted, having upset neighbors. I think that's something that rarely happens here, but you definitely have to think about when you're in LA.
Well,
I
feel
agree.
also
I think that. I'm sorry, Kimi, go ahead.
That's okay. I was just going to say that I think we at least all feel very privileged to be able to do this kind of thing down here. We're at least I love doing this kind of stuff and being able to be involved in productions, and I know you guys feel the same. And so I feel like we're very respectful if we're out and about in the community to make sure that we're taking care of the property or taking care of whatever somebody's lending to us because we appreciate it so much that we're able to be out there doing it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I think it all boils down to our attitude and our respect for the industry and for the process. And so when we come to somebody and knock on doors, we're coming from a place of, hey, can you help us out? This is what we're doing. And in LA, in the projects I've seen, sometimes it's kind of like, here's the money that we can pay you. So when can we come in and start filming? And so it's a very different attitude coming from the filmmakers, in the beginning. And then something else I want to say is that a lot of people don't realize this. Chris knows this because we've worked together on some of these, but there's 3 Western towns in San Diego County where you can go and shoot a full Western, which we've done, a short film or a feature film. And those are here in San Diego County. We don't have to go to all of the big ranches that are very expensive and they come with permits and a 3-hour drive, to North LA. We have some Western towns here, and there's some other things that are being built as well. So I just wanted to point that out because not a lot of people know that.
Right.
Jody, just to hit on what you were saying, I did have a run-in with the police about 5 years ago on Thaina Beast County. We did have permits for everything we shot. We were actually in Golden Hill, and we shot an old rundown theater. And in the back, there was an alleyway. And we had a scene with a couple people with guns and a girl screaming. And the police came in on both sides, and they almost arrested all of us. So the crazy thing is, get your permits no matter what, especially if you have guns or violence. But the wild thing is, we had a guy, I think Carl Backus was in it, and he was missing an eye. And the thing is, I had to tell the police officer before he went to the theater, I said, look, you're going to see a lot of weapons, and there are going to be a bunch of people just cut up, but it's all fake. And of course, they took it very seriously. But when he came out, after he went into the theater and then came back out, while we have our hands up against a wall, they're like, hey, they actually were kind of laughing, but they said, look, there was like some tagging on a wall, and they're like, that there have been like 10 people that have been killed here. And we're just like, whoa, so yeah, that's my only real run-in with the police. Like you said, most of the time they're like, oh yeah, hey, this is great. And you can tell them to go over to Crafty.
I mean, I can see,
in Golden Hill at
later
at 2 a.m.
I'm not encouraging not getting a permit. I'm just saying that, I've heard I'm filming my girlfriend walking down the street because we're getting engaged, and people will have the police try and stop them in LA. I've heard that story.
Totally. That's true.
Always get permits.
Yep.
They're free, and they take 3 days to get. Why would you not get a permit?
That's right. We just want to remind our audience at this point, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat. We'll try to get to some of the questions later as we're going through here. So let's go through each of you. So what is your 30-second pitch, which we kind of went over, but if you were in the elevator with somebody from Idaho and they're like, why should we film in San Diego? Then give us your elevator pitch about why they should come film here. Javier, you're unmuted. You get to go first.
Okay. I will invite people to come to San Diego to film because the possibilities for locations are endless. You can find a snow mountain film in winter, and then the next day you can film a beach scene in summer, and that's possible in a short time. Also, you can shoot in Spanish if you want completely, or bilingual Spanish, English, or even other languages. You can even recreate a French village from the Mediterranean by the ocean also.
Ding, I'm at my floor. Thank you. I'll come film here.
Mm-hmm.
Shannon and Anthony, what do you got?
All right. So you should want to come to San Diego because there's no better place to shoot outdoor locations. We have not seen rain since March 21st. So you're not going to get rained out if your production runs for a week or 2 weeks. I think you can always predict by looking at the weather. You'll know if it's going to rain or not. So you'll be fine on the production side of things. But also, like Shane said earlier, you can literally shoot a mountain scene, come down, shoot a beach scene, and then go out to the desert all in the same day and have a desert scene on one full day. Like, that's just one day. You can reach all those locations. San Diego is definitely the place to be if you want multiple locations in one location.
Perfect. Shane, anything else?
Oh yeah, so I'll just say real quick,
Yeah.
this is an extremely supportive community that we were just on a film and we lost an actress at call time, and we just started calling people up because we're all friends and we were able to find somebody, and because we're a big family and everyone wants everyone to succeed, and I think that's really special about this place, and also the town is just excited about it. Like, every time we filmed at a location, people are genuinely just so excited to be part of it. So I feel like it's just such a supportive community.
Yeah, I agree, and the locations withstanding with everything we've already said. Another thing I think that San Diego brings is that we're a cosmopolitan town. You can find every ethnicity there is in San Diego. Like Javier said, you can get all the different languages, but it's a very cosmopolitan town, and the acting pool is rich with that, and the crew equally is rich. So not only does it offer some of the best locations with the most consistent outdoor lighting that you can find, like Anthony said, you have a very open, rich industry here that are very open to work. And that's another thing that you find different as an actor. You know, I've got like 50 different credits on my resume from LA to San Diego and some other places. I find that working in San Diego, and you know, I'm going to piss off a lot of my LA actor friends, but working in San Diego, from the crew standpoint as well, everyone is so respectful because they know that everyone's trying to do their best and offer their best and get to another level, you know. And I always say you're one introduction from the next level. So when you're working in San Diego, you meet so many people that are trying to do what you're doing. You're on the same path, but it's more of a it's much more of a family and friend kind of attitude rather than LA, where everybody's kind of within themselves on set. Even in auditions, they're within themselves. Whereas in San Diego, everybody's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Before the audition, everyone's communicating. So I would say in a nutshell that San Diego offers a very rich cosmopolitan ability for cast and crew.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Chris?
It's close enough to LA to bring in talent, whether actors or crew. But at the same time, it's far enough away from LA that it's friendly, and it's people are a lot more open to obviously letting you film here, and it's not going to cost you. You know, it's great because like I said, we usually pull people in from Los Angeles, but it's not a hard sell because to people in Los Angeles, it's like it's a getaway, it's a vacation. They're getting to work, they're going to paradise, 2 hours south, and honest, it's a great sell, and it's worked for us many times.
Great. Jody, I know you have lots of 30-second pitches about this.
I didn't prep this 30-second pitch. I should go first, you know. But yeah, I mean, what I have to say is, you know, over the years, we've built an incredibly diverse, incredibly deep pool of talent in San Diego, and a very, very respectful and very kind and wonderful community to make your films with and in. And I think that's. I mean, there's all the other aspects of the city that everyone's already mentioned. But we're like the little film community that could. We have this wonderful film community that's just far enough away from LA that it doesn't feel like that. It's a different thing. It's a different energy. It's a different vibe. It's a different depth of people. But you can get all the great talent, crew, resources, locations, everything that you need to make your film here. So would love to, you know, extend a hand out here if people want to come and make films in San Diego. We've got a great group of people here to reach out to. Myself, definitely. I'll leave my email here in the chat. But just look at this group of people. Who doesn't want to make films with these people?
It's true. So I want to give you guys some time just before we kind of go over to question and answer stuff to kind of talk about your films that you guys worked so hard on and got them into Film Week. So Shannon and Anthony, for The Flourish, both of your films are just amazing. The Flourish, your little girl Faith Herman was just adorable. How was she? And so, like you said, her whole thing was in her character was that she was trying to learn magic so that she could be, a famous magician, which is awesome. How was she with the magic? Did she know any magic, or was it all completely new to her?
I'll let him
So I was the creative director for that because I am a magician. I've been a magician since I was younger than how old she is now. So I started when I was 7. So she's such a professional, obviously from working on like the movie Shazam and This Is Us and several other projects. This was the first time she got to be a lead in a film. So she obviously is very professional. She's a young lady, like 10 or 11.
Or like, yes.
Well, yeah. So I was able to just show up on set, started showing her a little bit of magic. First off, like I did the trick and she like couldn't get past that. She was like, oh my gosh. But then I showed her how to do it and she's like a quick learner. I teach kids as, doing sleight of hand and magic and stuff, but out of everybody I've ever shown anything, she picked it up really quick. Unfortunately, the time constraints of what we were doing through the day, we ended up just using different methods to show the magic instead of actually her doing the magic. If I would have had her for, a month to practice like a, full-fledged feature film, that would have been amazing. But she would have definitely got it down and would have been believable. But she picked it up.
Nice, that's awesome. And your story, just overall, is just really kind of inspirational, I think, for anybody. So what kind of prompted you to tell that story? And your sister Britt wrote it, right?
Yeah, so it was for Her Film Challenge. So we were given a story that was written by Jay Carroll. And it was like about her dream of being wanting to be a famous magician. It's a true story. We took it and kind of ran with it a little bit. Probably we took a lot of creative liberties. My sister was the writer who adapted Jay's story. And because we're sisters, we put a sister element into it. And we were always big dreamers. So we really wanted to showcase that. And also just showing a story of like a little girl who has a dream and to not give up on those dreams, that and stuff like that. So that was, and then obviously his background being a magician, we tied in some of like his personal life as, wanting to be that. So it was kind of like a lot of things that came together with this story, but initially we were just drawn to it because it was a story about a little girl with big dreams and
and there's just every opposing force against those dreams that she had to overcome. And then you see in the end that she does become the famous magician and with her sister.
Yeah, and it was kind of a different story than films we have told before. I think a lot of our stories are a little bit on the darker side, so it was nice to make something that's like, oh, this is definitely more of like a family film. Like I could show my kids, and it has like a message of hope and following your dreams. So
yeah, exactly. And just not to stereotype people, like too, just to have everybody should have their dreams, and you shouldn't be pigeonholed because of it. So, and you make cars appear on Fiesta Island. So what more do you want, really? If you make cars appear on my driveway, that'd be great. All right, and then Chris Cashman. So your movie Leave 'Em Laughing was it was pretty interesting. I don't know that. I didn't know that story about Dick Shawn. Can you kind of tell us about what the story was around and how you got involved with Carlo Capo?
Yeah, this is kind of a project in the works. It's been going around for, I would say, almost 8 years. So just kind of putting it out there, when you have these meetings with people and they want to make a movie, don't ever give up. Because I honestly thought there were so many times that I met these executive producers at a filmmakers meeting. Gentleman named Dave Braffman, who's an entertainment lawyer in San Diego. I met him there, and he pitched to the group. He said, I want to make a film here in San Diego about the famous Dick Shawn, who's a comedian who was big in the 60s and 70s. He was on Johnny Carson, 30, 40 times. But his last show was here in San Diego at UCSD on April 18th, 1987. And he actually died on point telling a joke. He's the only comedian that is actually recorded as actually telling a joke. So he died to laughter, which is pretty wild. Nobody wants to die, but for a comedian, you strive for people to laugh at your jokes. And your last moment on earth, you're hearing laughter. So These gentlemen, like I said, approached me about 8 years, and every once in a while I'd get a call. Like my wife would always say that I'm meeting with the lawyers, because it's these two lawyers. Carlo, one of his legal friends, wrote an article. He was actually in the audience that night in 1987 and witnessed the whole thing. And when he got home, he said, I got to write this down. So he spent all night, and it got published in the New York Times, the LA Times. And so basically they gave me the article, and I worked with Chris Lusty, and we made it into a screenplay. So it's about in and around that fateful night, but it also kind of goes along with what Carlo was going through in his own life. He was going through a divorce, and he had an estranged relationship with his son. So we were able to kind of bring those elements, those personal elements, into this actual event. And we were fortunate enough to get Matthew Glave, who was an Argo. And the crazy thing is, he is a huge fan of Dick Shawn. He grew up, his mom used to show him Dick Shawn when he was a kid. So it was kind of serendipitous for him to work on it. We met him up at Musso and Frank's one night, and we talked for like 3 hours. And he's like, I'll go to San Diego. I'll work with you guys. And, Pete,
yes.
Yeah, pulled him in. And then Pete Gardner, when I lived in LA, I used to do improv at Second City, and he was one of my teachers. And I've put Pete in a bunch of my films, and he was more than happy to come down. We set him up, down by the beach, and he loved it. And it was a great little film. Like I said, it was a passion project for someone. So I find that a lot of times, I'll meet people, and we all do as filmmakers. You say you're a filmmaker, they're like, oh, I have a story. You need to make a film about my uncle or my grandfather or, my sister. Okay, great. But at the end of the day, everyone has stories, but well, who's going to pay for that? And well, it's your job. No, it's not, because I got plenty of ideas and stories, but it's great. These guys actually, they financed the whole thing, which was awesome. But I think this is probably about the fourth project I've done that literally it's a passion project for someone. It wasn't like I was looking to make Dick Shawn. I didn't even know anything about Dick Shawn, but I knew I saw the heart and the soul in the story, and I had to make it. And so we were able to use all the local actors, which was great. We also worked with Mark Christopher Lawrence, all the local actors that you see in all the films. It was great, even Larry Poole makes a cameo in there, Jordan Jacobo, Mark Atkinson. We were able to bring in the Flynns as well, that have been in the Fairley Brother films. Through Mark, he met them. So Jackie and Nikki Flynn, they were able to have a part in it. So it was a great collaboration. Like I said, bringing a couple people in from LA, making it a nice vacation weekend, work vacation. And then we got to use all the great talented people here in San Diego. So it was a lot of fun.
A couple different time periods. So you had, I think, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, and some flashback type stuff in there. So how was that working with wardrobe and props, and just even finding locations that kind of fit the scene?
Well, kudos to Elsa Mickelson. She did a great job. She actually won the production design award for the Oceanside Film Festival. So, and she deserves it. She did a great job, literally nailing that wardrobe. We were able to find a home that's been kind of preserved, this very 60s, 70s home over in Point Loma that one of my friends, his brother, owns. It was vacant. So we were able to just use it for a weekend. No one was in there. We just put feelers out to everybody with old cars, my friends and family. And so all of a sudden, all these really nice vintage cars. We just said any cars under 1987. And it was awesome. And that's the thing. We didn't pay for the cars or anything like that. It was just people were proud that oh, cool, I get to put my Porsche in this or Cadillac or whatever. It was prideful. And that's the thing. In San Diego, it gives these people an opportunity to be part of something they would never get to experience. Where in LA, it's all the time. I'm sure people with classic cars are getting hit up hey, I got a movie. Okay, my day rate is X,
you just on central casting with your vintage car, and you get calls all the time. So.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So it makes it fun, and I know, so, I think Shane mentioned it is a family, experience here. It's the heart and soul. I mean, it is perfect for independent filmmaking. It really is. It's, people embrace you.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Javier, thank you for being here. The 5th of November is your film. And tell us a little bit about this, because it's it was a little bit shocking while I was watching. I was like, wow, all right. It was, there's she had some mental health issues after her PTSD, I feel like. Tell us about your story?
Yes, exactly. It's a hard drama, I should call it. Also, it has some psychological thriller style, also a little bit of horror, but definitely it's a sad story. It's the story is about Jane, a survivor of a mass shooting, and as she prepares to celebrate another birthday, the trauma shows itself, and the trauma is basically that she lost her fiance in that mass shooting, and that she never recovered from that, and actually she became serial killer as well. So like the damage was so serious that she became one of the persons that she didn't want it to be. So it's a social commentary also on the excessive amount of guns on the streets available to the people. It's just like a critique to that point from, of course, from a fiction story point of view, but it's somehow based on real facts, based on extreme situation that sadly happens in the country.
Right.
And the story behind the project is very interesting because the lead actress wanted to do something focused on this topic, and she was looking for filmmakers all over the United States actually to do this project. And she didn't have the script, so at some point we got in contact, and I told her, "Well, I can do it in San Diego. This is a beautiful town for this story. It's of course it's a universal topic for the country, so we can film it here. And in addition to that, we can shoot in a lot of nice exteriors, as we already mentioned. It's very beautiful for filmmaking. So it was very interesting because she's based in New York. She never been to San Diego before, and she came all the way from New York to be part of the film, and she was here. As you said, Chris, one of the actors that come from other places like LA or New York, she came here for 5 days, some sort of vacation. Well, we have long days of shooting, so not so much vacation, but it was really good to have her here. And the rest of the talent came from LA, so for them it was a good experience. And we really have fun. We shot it in 4 days in downtown, in La Jolla, by the beach, in several places, and we ended up having a very good product that is being selected in about 25 festivals already, which is really, really good. And will be in TV as well. It's being picked up by Shorts TV, which is a platform that supports short films. So it's really great. The idea is to continue developing the story. I think the short film, as you see it, and I hope everyone in the festival can see it. The story is open. The story is not still finished, so we want to make it a feature film, and we're working on ways how to get the financing, put the story together, because we need to, of course, complete the script for a longer format, and we are in that process right now. And of course. Uh, Possibly using more San Diego locations and crew and talent. That's definitely something that we have in mind.
Yeah, the locations you picked were just amazing, right by the water. It was just
Hmm.
that should be our, aside from like her killing people, that should be our postcard for San Diego.
Yes. One interesting thing about this project is that one of the locations, that the house that she where she lives, is that was not supposed to be the actual location. We have another one via Airbnb, and when we came, or the day before we came to get the location for the filmmaking for the project, um, for so many mistake or whatever happens, the owner also rented to other people, and he was so uh, like feeling really bad for that. He was so sorry, like, I have another house that maybe fits you, and that house was bigger and better for filmmaking. So it was a very happy accident, and it was just an example of how people are very nice and friendly in San Diego for filmmaking. He gave us a property that was maybe twice the value of the one that we paid for the Airbnb, and ended up more beautiful and for the same price.
Worked
So it
out.
was one of the things that could happen in San Diego also.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. And Shane, last but not least, tell us about Simple Twist, because yours, like Chris's, was just like a who's who of San Diego. Like everybody you've ever known in San Diego was in your movie. So.
Yeah, it was. We were very blessed. I mean, this was very much after the writing process. was very much, hey, everybody, let's make a movie. And I spent a year writing the script. It's based on a story concept by Tony Cox. I wanted to go a little bit different direction and not make a dance movie. But we do have a lot of dance components to the film because it's germane to the story. The lead character was a professional dancer when he was a young kid. And so we had to have that in there. And we were blessed. There's a local rapper who's now in LA and done amazing things since we filmed, but Il Nicky is his name, Nicky Beatrice. And he said, my portfolio is yours. If you want to put it in the film, put it in the film. So I think we have 4 of his songs in the film. We had another original song that was written for the film as well. So we're very blessed that way. And then Alejandro Castro, Alejandro was like the angel of the film. He edited the film. He did the soundtrack for the film. You know, he composed the music when we didn't have the other songs in there. He did a lot of the sound. I mean, Alejandro Castro really is an amazing guy. And I hate to say that because I think he's one of the best kept secrets in San Diego. And I don't want to not have him available for my projects. So stay away.
Yeah.
But no, Alejandro is amazing. When we went to casting, I said to Tony, I want everyone to audition. As an actor, I know that if I audition for a part, I've earned that part, and there's a certain respect for the part, but there's also a certain satisfaction that you've earned that. So it wasn't just this thing about, hey, you know, because between myself and Randy Davison and Tony Cox and, you know, Michelle Way and all the people that are in the film, we know basically everybody. So we could hand pick and go, hey, do you want to be in this? But we didn't do that. We had every single person audition for every single role so that if they got the part, they knew that it was because of their talent and what they brought. Because there were a couple times where, you know, someone would walk in and do something totally different than what we thought we were looking for. And there were some people that walked in and just nailed it. It was just like, you don't even have anything to say. You're just like, okay, we'll be in touch. But so we were very lucky that way. With the crew, it was the same kind of thing. Once they read the script, the crew, you know, Matt Tripolo was one of the shooters, and John Hammersla shot the film beautifully. They were very patient with me. I've discovered that when I write a script, it's really notes to myself. It's not really a script. And so because all the shots are included and, you know, I do all the wrong things, but when they read the script, they saw the total vision. So it was something that, you know, Dave Dawson was part of it. I mean, we had so many parts of talent from the community, from the crew, and from the casting side that it was a great experience. All of our locations, you know, we were looking for locations from here and there, but most of those came through friends or through the crew and the cast. The film is it's really a dissection of relationship between estranged son and father. Part of it is a little biographical, autobiographical on my part. I've never met my dad. So in this, I really, the dialogue between the son and the father was a very important thing for me. It was almost kind of cathartic. So the film Simple Twist, it was a labor of love. Like Chris said, it's always amazing to work on a labor of love, something like that. And so we were very blessed from all perspectives getting this film done. And it took us a total of about 4.5 years to complete it.
Wow.
Because as I mentioned earlier, shooting at the magic hour does not help your speed of getting the film shot. And then it took me a year to write the script in a way that I was finally, you know, ready. And Tony was very patient most of the time, but you know, he kept saying, when are we going to be done? When are we going to be done? And so I would send him, you know, the next generation, what I had. And he's like, okay, I'll wait. So we're very proud of what we did with what we had to do it with. And it was just, you know, it's an amazing process that everybody on this panel knows that when you write the characters and then you see them in the auditioning process and then you see them actually working. And then after you get the film done and you get to watch that, it's just a, you know, I'm still very, very enamored with that process.
Sure. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it was great. It was really fun to see everybody, and the story was a good story, good overall message in that story too. So congratulations on getting that done. I'm sure Tony was at home, practicing his popping and locking the whole time. So,
Yeah, he was.
all right, Jody, I know we're going to bring in Ken Gora. He has a in memoriam that he wants to talk about real quick. We only have a few minutes, unfortunately, but we definitely want to hear from Ken if we can get him in here. Hi, Ken.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I appreciate the time today, and I don't know if this will allow me to screen share. Jody, if you're able to put that picture of Mark up, that'd be great. But thank you for the time. Very briefly, everyone here has talked about the great talent that we have here in San Diego. And one of those people is a gentleman named Mark Krennick. And Mark has appeared in over 140 films and television programs. And October 8th, 2 weeks ago, Mark passed away from a tragic accident. He was in such films as Ford versus Fairlane and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but more importantly, he was a big part of our local film community and just a wonderful, wonderful human being, if you can see that photo of him below. I got the pleasure to cast him, direct him, and produce with him in a short film where he was the leading actor. He lived in Escondido, California. He's survived by his wife, Marina, and their young daughter. Blessings, and thank you all for giving me this time to give memory to Mark.
Thank you, Ken. We really appreciate it. And of course, our thoughts are with his family as well. I think that goes for all of us on the panel say that, and I'm sure everybody in the audience. So thank you for letting us know.
Thank you. Great panel today. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. On that note, we have one more minute, and I would like everybody, let's see what the questions are. We can have one quick question. Okay. Everybody's going to get a chance. And Ken, if you have something, if you want to stay on, you're welcome to answer this too. What's a hidden treasure in San Diego that you love to film at? Hidden treasure location or area of San Diego?
So I don't have one. We haven't filmed at it yet, but if you didn't know, you can actually film at the Port of San Diego at Embarcadero at the end of Broadway there, that giant building that's glass windows all the way around it. It's the port where all the cruise ships come in. You can film there for free. All you have to do is just apply through the city. And it is a nominal fee of just paying the hourly rate of the security guard you have on. He unlocks the doors and he just stays with you on set. But you got use of the entire facility. You have that whole pier. You could shoot. Your mind can just go wild with it. And so we've been slowly trying to come up with ideas of how to creatively use that space for a film project. Mm-hmm. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. Perfect. Shannon, do you have a different one?
I think it's hard to say. There's so many great locations in San Diego, honestly. I think that some of the little, even just we just shot at the Hotel Del, and it's something that you feel like might be unattainable, but a lot of times just asking and reaching out to those places that you think aren't attainable, they probably are. So I think if you have a location you like, just go for it and ask for it.
Perfect. Javier, hidden treasure location, San Diego?
Yes, I think Barrio Logan has a lot of things to offer as a location. It's a neighborhood that I haven't seen much in local films. Maybe I haven't seen all of the local films that I've done. But I think Barrio Logan has a lot of potential for, of course, more like for human stories, for social dramas, or for historical stories about San Diego. But I think Barrio Logan is a place to discover for filmmaking.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Chris Cashman.
Touch on the Port of San Diego. I actually filmed a HP commercial there, and we used it as an airport, like a terminal. So that's how versatile. That's a really great location. My number one would be Balboa Park. Once again, really, diverse geographically, a lot of really cool stuff, and you can film there for free. We actually filmed a scene for Leave 'Em Laughing at the recreation place where they have the ping pong and the badminton, and it looked very 80s, and it looked like a lobby. So we shot there. And once again, I think we had to pay for the supervisor that was there to like obviously unlock and lock the door. And it was a good deal. So yeah, once again, like public municipal locations, use them.
Perfect. Shane Allen.
There's just so many. I can't really pick one, but like Shannon said, just don't be afraid to ask, because so many people are open to it. The gymnasium scenes and some of the dance class scenes in Simple Twist were shot at the Boys and Girls Club of America in Claremont, and they allowed us to have 2 days of shooting in there. It was amazing. So, you know, that there's, I mean, the geographic location of San Diego offers so much. So just shooting in San Diego is my favorite place to shoot. I'll put it that way, because there's just so many, so diverse, so many different buildings, so many different microclimates. I would just say San Diego County offers everything.
Well, like you said before, all the Western towns, that was a good call out too. So just need to bring your own horses and you're ready to go.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and they're very different too. They're not all the same. You have one that's very rustic. It looks like something from it's my favorite movie with Robert Redford. I can't think of what the name of it is right now. But Jeremiah Johnson. You have one location that looks just like those cabins in Jeremiah Johnson, all the way up to sort of a booming Western city up in Ramona, to a more quiet small town like Montana looking thing out in the Descanso area. So even within those Western towns, there's a very diverse look for those as well.
Definitely. Jody, last thoughts on a hidden treasure? Oh, we lost. It's okay. You can chat it to us over in the chat box. All right, you guys, I just wanted to thank everybody. We are out of time, unfortunately, because I would love to sit and talk to you guys all day, but they're kicking us off because there's another panel coming. But I want to thank you all. Congratulations on having your films in Film Week, and for all just getting your films done in general, and then getting in Film Week, an extra bonus. So good job, everybody, and thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you as well. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Bye.
Gracias.